Why do I do this?
Hmm.
Because every time, I mean,
I caught myself on the call in to KRDO on Friday
right?
calling agents overpaid door openers.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that.
In the context of what I was saying, though, was, the new NAR rule is you have to have an agreement with the buyer before you go show homes. Before that, right now, it's not required. So they meet them at the house. They don't know if they can buy a house. They don't know what they're looking for in a house. And, to me, they're just overpaid door openers.
That
So,
sounds like a recipe for disaster.
yeah.
And you know what? I think older people who've been around for a while, like David's saying, too many red flags here. But younger people, you know what? They don't know. It's like a guy when he sees a great looking car on a car lot and he just wants it instead of having somebody check it over to make sure it doesn't need $2,000 worth of work or whatever.
Right.
Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to go. Barbara?
Lemonade. All right. I'll shut the door.
All right.
Mhm. On the air.
I do have a 1 o'clock. Okay. Okay. I'm good. Barb,
I'm ready.
I'll count us down in three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the owner of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty, and the host of the program. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday, 11 o'clock, right after Larry Kudlow. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just go ahead and search Barb on most of the popular podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, etc. Barb, what's on the docket today?
Well, good morning, Richard. I'm excited about the topics today. The first one, a lot of people have been hearing about in the news, which is how to prevent squatters from moving into your home, especially if you're selling your home in Colorado. We're going to dig into that a little bit and let you know kind of what could happen, what has happened in my own experience, and some tips to protect your house from people invading your property. The next topic's just kind of fun. I always like to look at home design information online just because, and a lot of these designers are very generous with their tips and stuff. But we're going to talk about some mistakes to avoid and the way you can decorate your home on a budget to actually present very well when you are putting it up for sale. And then the third topic, we're going to dive into a little bit about what buyers are looking for. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, this is good information because you want to know, okay, if I want X in a house, is that something that's valuable or not? And then the last topic we've covered before, but I always have more drama to talk about here, are the rules for showing your home and how to avoid agent showing mistakes. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
You've got it. Great topics and timely ones as well. We're hearing more and more, Barb, on the news about squatters invading empty homes. It's a national problem, and here in Colorado as well. So, what are the laws in Colorado, and what can home sellers with empty homes do to prevent squatters from taking over their homes?
Well, I don't know if anybody has seen that video that's up on TikTok where an illegal alien basically goes up there and in another language describes exactly how he uses the word invade empty homes and live there.
Jeez.
Now, in pretty much any state, that's kind of a nightmare. First of all, once they get possession, it's difficult to get them out. Second of all, they could damage the house. And there's so basically, this guy is a professional criminal going online for the world to see to teach these people that are coming across the border how to go and move into homes and stay there. And so, and not be homeless. It's crazy. So I've had some of my own real life experience with squatters in my listings. And we're going to go over what we call kind of some things that you can do to prevent that from happening, as well as what are the state laws? What are the requirements? I remember once I had somebody come into my office and he was so frustrated. He had a rental property and he had squatters invade that property. They weren't just in the house, they were in the crawl space, they were in the empty areas all over the home. And he called the sheriff. The sheriff came. He said, I can't do anything about it. You have to formally evict them. And they didn't have permission to be there. And then you know, in the one in California, which there's all kinds of them in the news now. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in Atlanta. It happened on a multi-million-dollar property in California where they're having parties. It happened in New York where they just went in and basically killed the occupant and took possession of the home, which I know that's a crime in any state. But here's the problem. I had one that actually went into one of the properties I had for sale that was owned by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. It was just getting ready to go on the market. And these kids went in and broke into the house. They crawled in through a window. They covered up all the windows with doors that they took out of the basement and let their friends come over and have this huge party all night. So I get a call at 7 in the morning. And anytime you get a call at 7 in the morning and it's a sheriff, my immediate thought was my son was a teenager at the time. I'm like, okay, what did he do? But he was sleeping in the other room. And it was these other teens that broken in and had a big party, but the neighbors turned him in, which was a good thing. So things are a little bit different in Colorado than they are in other states. There's different types of quote possession, right? One of them is called adverse possession, where they actually occupy the property for more than 18 years. And from what I remember from real estate school, you have to actually file a suit in order to get that ownership of that property. And then there's another term called hostile possession, which is hostile possession, which is occupation without permission. And I know from my own experience that if somebody gets into the home and they're occupying it, neither the police nor the utility companies are going to help you in that situation. It doesn't matter whether or not they have permission to be there. If they get in there, the only legal way to get them out is to legally evict them, which takes a lot of time. And in the meantime, they can do a lot of damage. Let me tell you a story. I had a listing a year or so ago, and it was an unusual manufactured home in town in a neighborhood, and the former owner had passed away. And the family of the former owner hired me to put the house on the market. So we got it ready. We put it on the market. It was being shown by agents. One day, this agent showed up and went to open the door, and all these guys from inside the home showed up in the door. And she goes, "Oh, I thought it was empty." They said, "Oh, no, no, the owner let us stay here."
Oh my
So
God.
ring, ring, I get the call. I go over there, much to the objection of my husband. He's like, "Don't go over there. Don't do it." And I'm like, these guys don't have any business. I was really mad about it. And so basically what happened was the police never came. There were 7 occupants that went into this home, and they kind of scattered like rats. One of them came up to me and was like, "Oh, ma'am, I have this jacket in the house. Will you please put it outside? It's my only most valuable possession." I said, "Fine, but you better not come back because the cops are coming." And so anyway, they left. We went inside and looked at what was in the home. There were needles all over the place. There were odd chemicals. They were living high on the hog because the utilities were on. So they were some kind of street workers or something. They had these vests laying around. And anyway, so we cleaned up the home. A week later, they broke back in again. First time they broke in through the back door, access door from the garage. The second time they just busted through the front garage door. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not a police officer and I don't know what to do here. So I tried to get a hold of the seller. It took some time. Turned out the seller's, he was like the executor of the estate. He passed away. So then I talked to his brother and told him what was going on. I said, it's a problem. So anyway, the ultimate thing that happened about a week or two later, so my sign is still in the yard, right? And I get this panicky call from Colorado Springs Utilities going, oh my God, the water usage is off the scale at this house. Call me back. And I called him back. So just picture this. It's a rectangle manufactured home, about 2,000 square feet. Most of those don't have a basement. This one had a crawl space underneath of it, about 2,000 square feet, maybe 6 feet deep. What these guys had done is they cut the copper plumbing to sell it for money. Therefore, the water was just gushing all over the place. It filled the crawl space and was coming out of the sides of the home.
Oh my gosh.
And so I called Colorado Springs Utilities back, and he goes, well, I went over there and I turned the water off in the yard, but I did not lock it. And I said, why not? He goes, because there's somebody in the house. I'm like, those people are squatting. He goes, I'm sorry, that's our rules. We can't do anything about it. So not only was the plumbing destroyed, but they had needles in there. Chances are they were doing meth or God knows what, which would have contaminated the home. So I had to tell the seller, look, it's over. There's no equity left in this home, if there was any at all, after what these guys did to the house. I would just let it go to foreclosure, and that's ultimately what happened. And I actually asked Colorado Springs Utilities to shut it off. They would not do it because my name was not on the account. It had to be the widow of the guy that had the utilities in his name. So it's very, very frustrating. And, in my business, there's things that go on, like every time I put a listing on the market, I get busted by our MLS services because it doesn't match whatever they think the profile has to be. And there are times when they create rules that work against the home seller. And this is an example. So I was one of the first persons to start using virtual staging in this market. And it's really very realistic looking. It helps buyers, excuse me. It helps buyers visualize themselves living in the home, and it doesn't show the home as empty. So what the MLS rules are is if you virtually stage a room, by the way, I got busted for virtually staging one room and I got fined and sent to this hearing and all this garbage. And now they said, okay, it's okay to do it. They created rules around it. And one of the rules is you can put the virtual picture in there, but you have to also put a picture of the room empty in there too. So it telegraphs to the whole world that you've got an empty house, basically, with the utilities on. So I have a whole issue with doing that. And I don't think it's right, but basically that's in order to use that system, I have to do that. So if you are thinking of making a move, you really want to talk to an agent that knows how to protect you in this situation. And we give free in-home consultations on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. My name is Barb Schlinker. I am the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team, and I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. So we're talking about how to protect your home from home squatters, especially when selling your home. And next up, for the last little bit, we're going to talk about tips that you can do to protect your home from squatters. Richard?
That is Barb Schlinker, host of the program and host of so let me go back. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program, Your Real Estate Voice, and the owner proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Like Barb said, we're talking about invasions of home squatters. And what more should people know to be aware of this, Barb?
Well, if you do have them, you have to worry about whether or not they contaminated the home. If they've used meth in the home, it could mean a full-on remodel, even all the way down to the studs. That's how much contamination could take place. So you have to check for that. But that you have to also go through this ridiculous legal process. Notice to quit. You have to put a notice on the door. Wait 3 days before you can get a court date. Then you go to court. Could be a couple weeks, couple months before you get to court. Then you have to get a judgment for possession. Then you have to schedule a time with the sheriff to do a lockout. So all this takes weeks, if not months, to get done. In the meantime, they're in your home, they're occupying your home, they're damaging the home. So in my view, the best thing to do to minimize the opportunity for squatters to invade your property is, number one, avoid moving out. Go ahead and live there while you're showing and selling your home. It's okay. It's a little bit less convenient, but it's better than having these guys move in. Keep the internet on. Put up cameras around the house. Some of the cameras you can get on Amazon, like Blink and the other one, basically they're not that expensive. You can sign up for $10 a month for recording access, so you know if they do break in, what time it happened. That will help you. Make sure you're paying for internet service while your home is on the market. And most of all, pick an agent that uses the right kind of services, so you don't have to abide by the stupid MLS rules that present your home empty to the market. I don't think that's a good idea, but we see hundreds of listings all the time that are empty, and these squatters know they have utilities on, so wait, they get to stay there all snug as a bug, with the utilities on, and there's nothing you can do to get them out. So it's very frustrating, but if you hire the right team that knows exactly what to do, it could work out very, very well. Whether you're presenting your home empty or occupied, you should be taking these steps. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
And eventually, I hope the legislature deals with this. But in the meantime, you're right. It's exactly why people need someone like you who's had the experience and knows the pitfalls that are out there for people who are buying and selling. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program. And if you're thinking of making a move, call her, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the top home design mistakes to avoid, plus tips to add value and do that on a budget. Stay tuned. I love that segment.
Was it a little bit too dramatic, Richard?
No, I don't know how you can be too dramatic on that. And I'm dead serious, Barb. If I thought it was too dramatic, I would tell you. And at the end there, David, you can cut some of me out of there if you need to. Geez. I know people are going to be thinking, well, could that happen to me? Or are you just fear mongering? And I'm like, no, I don't think it's fear mongering. Like I said, I know Dan May. I consider him to be a friend. And I remember him being on TV a couple of years ago because one of the people who was working with him as the public information officer used to work here with these stations, Lee Richards. And there were some people who were yelling at him and angry at him as he was leaving this area because he was trying to explain to them there wasn't anything he could do because of the way the laws were set up.
Right. It's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. I know there's a guy coming out on TV and he's saying, have cameras so you know when they entered, create a lease for your home. But honestly, Richard, I'm pulling out of this local MLS. They have treated me like crap for years. And
They wanted to, they could have just said, put a little watermark down in the corner that says virtual staging and left it at that. And the average criminal, maybe after a while they'd catch on. But when they're looking at an empty house or an empty room, of course they're going to start thinking, yeah, that's one we can hit.
right, exactly. If they're smart and it doesn't, if they're criminals, they're dialed into this kind of thing.
And I'm
but
looking at the TikTok photo that you have in there, and I've seen, three or four of that exact guy. And because I'm not sure what the language is, I think it's Venezuelan, but I was amazed that I saw that a week or two ago, no, a day or two ago. And boom, all of a sudden he's on page two of what you're doing. Oh gosh. I
well,
mean,
he made himself famous, but he looks like a criminal. I mean, I talked to one of my clients last night and he said, we think Venezuela and some of these other countries are just emptying out their prisons and going, go to the US, get out of here.
in fact, I can't prove it because I see so much information, but I'm pretty sure that in the past week or so, I read an article that Venezuela had admitted that that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they
Come
did
in
with
here.
the Cuban thing years ago.
They're not going to change their spots. There's no way.
No,
They're still criminals.
and especially as long as it works, why would you change your modus operandi when it works over and over and over again? Yeah, people get upset at you and they threaten to do
Mm.
this, and maybe the cops come out or whatever. At the end of the day, you're still inside of the house.
Right. And
Mm.
and they can occupy it. It doesn't I met with one guy, I think it was last year, and he had squatters that set the house on fire.
Gosh,
Um, and he basically what he did was, and I'm sure it was illegal, he waited till 2 in the morning, got some of his buddies, and they just busted in the house and said, get the hell out of here. And
my
they did
God.
leave, but
Yeah,
they could have pressed charges.
yeah. Well, it might be illegal, but there's a reason why people have vigilante justice, and that is because the regular judicial system is not working for them.
No.
And all right, let's see. I got a new clock here, and I am ready, David. He's good. You got a 1 o'clock appointment. Oh yeah, okay. I'll try to keep us on track here then. I'll count us down in three, two, one. I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, you often speak of home sellers' biggest dilemma. They have to sell a home before they can buy their next home. It's that catch-22. Most home sellers want to be sure that their sale will go as planned, so most home sellers will not take a contract contingent on another home selling. What are the top ways a home seller can buy their next home without getting caught in this catch-22?
Okay, that is not what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
I
Um,
must have not saved the file. Um, so the actual title is Home Design Mistakes to Avoid.
well,
I
and
don't know what happened, but I probably didn't save a file, or something like
okay,
that.
I'll just wing it because, and I think what happened was up at the top, it does have home design mistakes to avoid, tips, etc.
Yeah, it does. I thought I fixed that, but
So, but here's my question is the rest of what we have here what in fact we should be talking about? And that has to do, don't buy generic art, stop,
it's
use
just
the,
the actual topic should be home design mistakes to avoid, and what are some tips to add value on a budget?
okay. All right, here we go. We'll do it again. Let me start my clock here again. All right, we'll do it
If you
again.
look at the summary has the right title.
Okay. Oh, there we are.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Here we go. Three, two, one. I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. Barb, we're going to be talking about the top home design mistakes to avoid. Plus, we'll be talking about tips to add value and to do that on a budget. Get us started on this, Barb.
Well, I did some research on this and just looking at sort of some designers talk about what's in, what's out. But I think this particular designer that I looked at, one of the things I liked about what he said was you should decorate your home for you, right? So don't worry too much about the trends or what's in style. Focus, make sure it reflects you and what you like and what you're into. But there are certain things that people do. They go to stores and they think, oh, that must be cool. I'm going to go to IKEA rather, and get a cow head or an Amsterdam poster. And I've never been to Amsterdam and I don't want a cow, or it looks like a yak to me. But you want to make your space your space. But some of the mistakes he talked about involved with artwork is like I'm making that in my space right here, where the piece of art that I have is too small for the wall. So it just doesn't look right. So you want to fill the space kind of at eye level above your furniture. Don't make it too small. Don't make it overwhelm the room. But if you do put artwork on there and it's too small for the space, it just doesn't look right. Another idea is, and this is a trend thing that went on for a while. Well, people would put up these, I call word art decorations in their house. Live, love, laugh.
Oh, yes.
They would name the pantry or name the kitchen or name the laundry room. And they're cute, they're somewhat attractive, but they're out of style. You're better off putting your own artwork in there. It's something that reflects you. Another thing that can actually make a room look a lot more attractive, very simple thing, is not to use what he called cropped curtains. So a lot of people will hang curtains over a window and they will put the rod just above the window. Something that's more on trend is put the rod up higher on the wall and have sheer or non-heavy curtains coming down to the floor. It actually will make the space look taller, bigger, and more elegant. Some of the things that are going away are any kind of dust collector window coverings. Like for a while, everybody had vertical blinds on sliding doors, and they very much stayed at home, no question. So maybe you don't even cover that door. There are some horizontal blinds that you can pull over those, but just avoid those kind of blinds and dust collectors. And actually, I tell some people, if you don't need the blinds or the window coverings, if you go into models and take a look at them, a lot of times they will not over decorate the windows or the window coverings. They leave them almost empty and it looks better that way. Another mistake that people make all the time is to not have texture in the space. And texture is a very broad term. It could be rugs, it could be pillows, it could be a raised panel wall, it could be all kinds of things that just make the home look visually interesting. If you look at a room and you see a bed in a room and these flat walls with maybe one picture, it's kind of boring. So throw in a pillow. Another thing that we see a lot of people doing lately, especially the homes that were built in the 70s, if they happen to have that old wood paneling, what you can do with that is actually paint it white and it looks like shiplap. It shows off the texture of the paneling and actually looks very visually interesting. So little simple things like that can make a huge difference. Another thing that he calls very boring is if you go into a room and it just has one overhead center dome light. He says that's boring, which is true. You can go on Amazon, you can go on Wayfair, you can find little lamps and things that give the room better lighting off to the sides, that instead of having this overshadow on the top, that makes rooms look more interesting and more attractive as well. And then another huge mistake is Art too small. I mentioned that already. Rugs that are too small for the room. I see this an awful lot where the rug in the room is inside the furniture. So it looks kind of like a postage stamp. In small spaces, you want the front legs of the furniture to be over the rug, or in really big rooms, you actually want, it looks more luxurious to put a big rug down and put the whole piece of furniture over top of it. So these are just some design ideas to help people figure out what to do when they're getting their house ready for sale. First of all, you just don't want to overwhelm the room in general. Less typically is more, but you still want to have an integration of color and texture. It's just not too many pieces. And people tend to overfill rooms with furniture. That's probably the most common mistake that I see when they get consultations from our stagers. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I am the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team. And what we're talking about are some design ideas that can actually make your home look either expensive or cheap. And next up, we're going to be covering some more design tips that will make your home look more attractive and more elegant. And this is part of one of our included services. We actually include an in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale. We'll take a look at it, give you tips. We'll go over all the closing costs and give you a really good idea what your home will sell for, how much to put in your pocket in your home when it sells, and give you an idea to make it very show ready so buyers are willing to make an offer on your home. We'll also share with you all of our buyers. We have over 27,855 buyers just on my little website looking for buyers. We can also attract buyers on Zillow, buyers on Realtor.com, other agents' buyers, and we offer some great programs to make the whole process of selling easy. We have a guaranteed sale program. We have a worry-free move-up program. All these things make the process simple and easy for home sellers because it's not an easy process. I'm the first to admit it. I'm in the business of helping people do something that's hard. And my goal is to make it as easy as possible. Richard?
719-301-3900 or visit Barb has the buyers.
We start again. I was late hitting your mic. Sorry.
That's okay. I had a clump in my throat anyway. 3, 2, 1. For that free service, call 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And again, you're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. We are talking about home design ideas that can make your home look expensive versus cheap and not well thought out. So, Barb, what are some of the other design tips that make homes look more expensive?
Well, one very important thing that you should consider before you put your home on the market is how does the flooring look? Because flooring can make the difference, all the difference in the world between the buyer making an offer or not making an offer at all. And the reason is it's difficult to change out flooring and it can be very expensive. The difficult part is moving all the furniture or not moving in until you change the flooring. Either way, it costs money, takes a lot of time, it's a lot of effort. But it is a way to attract a buyer to just move in and drop their stuff and get on with their lives. And that's one thing. If you don't update anything in your home, flooring is probably one of the ones that you can get the most bang for your buck out of. Luxury vinyl. I've seen some luxury vinyl that looks very elegant. It looks just like wood, and those are nice. Some, not so much. Some just looks like typical vinyl flooring. The ones that look grayed out or unnatural, or if your flooring has broken areas, you might want to consider replacing it, right? I had one last year where they had 3 different types of flooring throughout the home. And parts of it were a little bit broken, parts of it looked great. And that we got feedback over and over and over again about how there was so much different flooring. And some buyers just couldn't get past it. So it's really important to have them not notice it. Now, sometimes you can do that by just putting a rug down on the floor, right? That might be enough. So Carpet, though, is a huge thing. If the carpet looks tired, if it has traffic areas on it, if it has stains on it, the buyers are going to decide to move on and pick a different house over just that one little thing. And carpet is, by comparison to hardwood floors or other products, is actually less expensive. It's not a good idea, though, to have carpet in bathrooms, because some people just don't think it's very sanitary to have carpet on bathroom floors. But a lot of the builders do it just because it's inexpensive to put flooring in there that way. Please don't use indoor-outdoor carpet inside a home. It looks very cheap. That's a big mistake I've seen done before. I had a listing like that where, he was in the business of doing commercial work. So this product was inexpensive and accessible to him, but it really did make a huge difference as to whether or not the home got sold. The indoor outdoor carpet was orange. Now it did wear fine. It didn't stain. It didn't have any of those problems, but it just didn't look attractive. I don't know how to explain it, but as soon as we got the carpet changed and changed out the trim and made it look like real trim instead of commercial trim, it sold right away. So those little things can make all the difference in the world. Another thing that we see a lot older, especially, is the builders really.
We're getting a lot of freezing.
Really?
Yeah, the connection is freezing.
Darn it. Okay. Where'd you lose me? I see it. It's unstable. Am I on Wi-Fi or am I on wired? How am I doing now?
Second time it froze, you saw, right?
Well, we saw it freeze 3 times.
Okay. I missed one of them.
Yeah.
Where did it freeze? Where a lot sold right away. So those little things can make all the difference in the world. Another thing that we see a lot. As soon as we got the carpet changed and changed out the trim and made it look like real trim instead of commercial trim, it sold right away. So those little things can make all the difference in the world. Another thing that we see a lot older, especially, is. So let's end at it sold right away. Start over.
Yeah, we can start from there.
Okay. All right. Tell me when you're ready.
Whenever you are.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Another design mistake that people don't take care of, which I think they should take care of, are the flat, hollow doors. Now, it's okay to have a hollow door. They sell those raised panel doors at Home Depot that aren't really that expensive. And just a little thing like replacing your flat hollow door to a raised panel hollow door can actually really uplift the look of your home very, very quickly. It's relatively inexpensive and it looks great. Another design mistake, which this one actually surprised me, was matching everything. Meaning you go into a bedroom and all of the furniture is matchy-matchy, or all of the colors in the room are matchy-matchy. It's okay to blend pieces. It's okay to blend a color palette and bring different looks into a room. It actually looks better that way. And another thing that I see an awful lot, and a lot of people assume that when you put the house on the market, you're supposed to take all the artwork down. And that's not necessarily true. Some people will do what they call a gallery wall, but they go too far. Like they completely cover the wall with all these different pictures, and it kind of overwhelms the buyer. First of all, the buyers are going in, they're looking at the pictures and they get caught up in the story. Maybe it's telling the story of your life or something. It's okay to have a few family photos here and there. That's fine. It's not okay to have a whole wall, or a lot of times I'll see this in hallways or staircase, of your whole life story, because it's distracting to the buyer. It always looks a lot neater just to have some neatly placed groupings of images that are attractive to you. And if you are going to do a gallery wall, plan your layout. Consider maybe using blue painter's tape. You can mix up sizes of prints and stuff. Just make sure there's breathing space from the top of your furniture, from the top of the ceiling, and just, a nice little grouping that works together. It looks a lot better than just peppering a wall full of every family photo that you have. The same thing with furniture. You can vary size and shape. And this is part of what we do. You don't have to think about this. We actually include a free in-home consultation with an interior designer that looks at your room and gives you a checklist on what to do, what not to do, room by room by room, so you know exactly how to put your home on the market. And a lot of people, the feedback I hear is, well, it doesn't look lived in. It's okay. We're trying to make it look a lot more austere so that the buyers can visualize themselves in the home. So if you'd like to get that free in-home consultation, give us a call at 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
And remember, if you're thinking of making a move, you're looking to trade up to another home, call Barb at barbhasthebuyers.com, or let me do that. I had something under a different page. 3, 2, 1. And remember, if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb Schlinker at 719-301-3900. You want to trade up to another home and you're trying to figure out the timing of all of this, go to barbhasthebuyers.com. You can use that as your all-point entry. When we come back, we'll be covering what are the top 5 things to look for when you're buying a Colorado home. Was that too convoluted? I ad-libbed a little bit of it.
No, it's fine. It's just fine.
All right.
I think ad-lib is better. I'll be right back.
Yep. I worry so much.
I don't know. I think so because what I did was just copy and paste what you had. Because I think last time I gave it to you. Yeah, it's just copy. Oh, okay, got it. All right, so I'll make sure that it's in. Yeah.
All right. Buyer topic.
Okay. Ugh. All right, I'm ready here. David, you good?
I am good.
Barbara,
I'm ready.
count us down in 3, 2, 1. I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show. It informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, and it does it all with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, if someone's looking at buying a house right now, what is today's home buyer considering? Again, I should just ad lib a little bit here. Go back to Barb. If someone is thinking of buying a house right now, what is today's home buyer? What should they be considering when they want to buy a Colorado home?
Well, first of all, Richard, the whole real estate world is going to change here in just a couple of months. And I don't know if people have been tracking that story on the news about how a National Association of Realtors had to settle a case for basically antitrust law violations, price fixing, steering, all kinds of stuff. And so the rules that came down basically said they're no longer going to offer a commission through the multiple listing service. And I think it has an opportunity to actually break up the whole MLS system. And I'm kind of excited about it. I'm ready for freedom and, some more opportunities in the market. And as it stands right now, the MLS system is very restrictive. And so, right now, the buyers have access to homes that are put up in the MLS and shared with all these different websites. And they don't get a lot of information. In fact, when they reach out on one of these tech companies like Zillow or Realtor.com, they think they're getting the listing agent that probably knows something about the house, but they don't. They get some random agent that doesn't know anything about them, about the buyer or the house. And they meet them at the door, hope they can buy a home, don't know what they're looking for, and oftentimes kind of don't have a great experience of working with that agent. Now, that's not always the case. I'm just saying a huge volume of the real estate agents out there operate this way. And so with this settlement, what's going to change is that every time an agent shows a home, they actually have to have a written agreement with the buyer on what kind of services they're going to provide. What kind of value would somebody just showing up and opening the door actually provide to that buyer? Are they going to write the contract? Are they going to protect their interest? Are they going to find them homes that they can't find online? There's all these things that a good buyer's agent could do. And as it stands right now, they're not doing. In my view, they're just overpaid door openers. And I'm excited about this change. I think it's going to help everybody in the industry be better at what they do. And it's going to teach not only the agents, but the buyers and the seller, everybody how to do something that they think we know how to do, which is negotiate. So I'm pretty thrilled about it. And it's going to start in just a few months. But in general, the first thing that buyers should be familiar with is the local market. Now, that data is not easy to find. There's kind of a little bit of data in the listing service. What they'll do is kind of aggregate the whole entire market and give you averages, which after I've done some more research, I find the data pretty much useless. So it's important for the buyers to understand what's going on in the market. We just helped our son. We partnered and bought a home with him out in California. And I ended up getting connected with an agent through Zillow. It wasn't her listing. That didn't bother me so much. I wanted to know more about her expertise, what she understood about the market there. And she did give me some tips that absolutely saved us some money. So I appreciate that. But not every agent pays attention to the local statistics or even what's going on in an area or a neighborhood. They just don't get trained on how to do this. They have to kind of find out on their own. And so the buyers, the consumers have no idea if whoever they're meeting at the door has any clue about the market or the house or anything like that. So during the boom, we had low inventory. We had a feeding frenzy for buyers. They all had to overpay for homes, bidding wars, tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking price just because there was low inventory and low interest rates. And it was tough for buyers at the time. It has evened out a little bit more, but it's still very much a seller's market. That's why it's absolutely critical for a buyer to understand the market. If the buyer's in love with that home and they want to make an offer, and then they hire an agent that says, oh, I don't think it's worth that much, right? The chances of them getting that house are almost nil. The agents think it's their job to get the buyer the lowest price, okay? But the buyer just wants the house. They wouldn't be looking at it if it wasn't in their budget. Sure, everybody wants a discount here and there. However, if you've got competition, you need to put your best foot forward. What is that number above which if somebody else bids higher, you're out, right? That's the question that should be asked, not how much of a discount or here, I'm going to prove to this agent that she doesn't know what she's talking about and she's got it overpriced. You know, some of the stuff I see going on out there. We actually catch these agents on video in front of the house telling their buyer, trying to position themselves as a quote expert, it's not worth that much. And these are homes that are getting bidding wars, which is ridiculous. So you have to make sure that you ask your agent the right questions, right? Meaning, tell them where you want to be, tell them what you're looking for. I mean, the agents are just hoping you fall in love with the house so they can write an offer. You know, and then if you do say that you like that home and you want to write an offer, they need to start asking some really good questions. What's most important to the seller? When do they want to close? Do they need to stay after closing for a little while? All these kind of things should be looked into by the buyer's agent. And I don't see a lot of people doing it. You wouldn't believe how many offers I get on email with absolutely zero communication from the buyer's agent. Make sure you know as a buyer what you are looking for. And here's the problem is the state of Colorado, there is no obligation. There actually is no job description for real estate agents. It does not exist. It gives you rules about what you can't do. We know those, but it doesn't tell you what you're supposed to be doing. And so you get these assumptions made out there in the industry. And right now we know that the state does not require the agent to verify that the buyer has the financial ability to buy the home. So think about this. You're a seller, you have your house on the market, you got a showing schedule and you're thinking, woohoo, this is so exciting. Maybe this is the buyer that's going to make an offer on my house. And then it turns out they'll say something like, you have a 2-story, and they say, oh, well, no, I really wanted a ranch. What do you mean? You know, why did I have to clear off all the dishes, make the bed, make the house look gorgeous? And this person's feedback is, we wanted a completely different house than what we can visually see is there. And that's because most agents don't ask. Most agents don't check. Most agents are door openers. And this lawsuit and the settlement can't be the best. I think it's going to be the best thing ever that happens to the industry. So as a buyer, you have to get clarity. Now, not everybody knows exactly what they want, and not everybody is able to articulate what they want. I was just talking to a client about it the other day, and she was going, yeah, when I was looking, I would give my agent feedback on the homes that they were showing me to say, this is a no-go. Don't show me another house with this because I'm not going to buy it. Right? Or I really like this. I'd like to see more homes like this. So that is really good feedback, right? But there are some things that are basics, what we call must-haves. I must have so many bedrooms. I must have a 3-car garage. I must have in the zip code, in the school district, whatever it is, to narrow it down. Now, is the buyer always going to buy that? No, not necessarily, but at least it gives you a parameter. So we'll start with location. Location actually should be 70%, and it is 70% of your purchase decision. And you have to think about, okay, how long of a commute do I want to live with? Is it close to my family? Does it fit with my lifestyle? All these factors fall into that search. And then how to search for homes. How do you find homes? A majority of the buyers do their research online. They also will drive by before they ever talk to a real estate agent. Many of them will go to open houses before they ever talk to a real estate agent. Some people weren't planning on buying a house and they see something online and go, oh my gosh, this is really nice. Maybe I should look at, making this move. But did you know that probably a third of the homes that are sold are actually not presented online? And that's why you need a really good real estate agent that knows how to help you find exactly what you're looking for. And some of the best sources are these online tech companies like Realtor.com, Zillow. Realtor.com is basically the combination of all the MLSs in the country displayed as one website. Zillow is another tech company that basically collects from assessor records and directly from the local MLSs. There are some public sites that offer up homes for sale through the multiple listing service. And then there's other ones cropping up every single day. But most buyers actually start with a drive-by. So when the market was booming, there were buyers that were purchasing homes sight unseen. I think that's crazy. Just based on my own experience, we see them online and go, oh, that looks good. And you go drive by and you go, oh, no, that's not going to work. So it's very important that you have some eyes and ears on the ground when you are looking for homes. And that's part of what we do is we sit down with buyers and sellers and we give them tips on how they can plan on presenting their home to get the buyers to be interested in moving from the online presentation to the drive-by. And then when the buyers drive by, they should have a good experience. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about the things to look for when buying a Colorado home. And next up, we're going to talk about some top must-haves for buyers in 2024. Richard?
Reminder that you're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, of course, and she is the owner proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Guaranteed. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And if you're in your car and you can't listen to the entire show, just go to Barb's YouTube channel. You can find it there under Barb Has the Buyers. We'll be discussing what buyers should be looking for in their home and what can home sellers do to attract those buyers to their home. Stay tuned for that.
You were
Okay.
supposed to go back to her.
Yeah. We got about.
Oh my gosh.
We weren't at the end yet.
That
No.
should have been a question.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on.
Sorry, I talked too long on that one.
No, that's okay. Let me just go from the top there then. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner and proprietor of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And remember, if you're in your car and you can't listen to the entire show, you can always catch it on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers. Barb, we're discussing what buyers should be looking for in their home. What can home sellers do to attract those buyers to their home?
Well, number one is no clutter. We already know that a huge percentage of buyers eliminate homes based on the online presentation. So if you're showing a bunch of clutter and a bunch of junk in the home, it's not going to sell. People are going to pass it by. They will eliminate it based on your stuff, not on the building. So decluttering is absolutely critical. Another thing is to make sure that when your home is presented to the market, the online presentation is top notch. You don't have to show pictures of every single room. You don't have to show pictures of the inside of closets or the inside of pantries unless they look like Williams and Sonoma. You don't have to show the inside of garages. What should be done is you market the best homes to get them there. Now, you do have to have the basic pictures. You have to have outside curb appeal, the backyard, the view, the living room, the kitchen, the master bedroom, the key rooms that make that home special in the house. But you do not have to show every nook and cranny. So making sure that you have good internet is important to buyers. Making sure that you have some fuel or energy efficient items, good windows, that kind of stuff, sometimes is attractive to buyers. Another thing that's very attractive and very important are the outdoor spaces. 66% of households have pets, and 65 million of them have dogs. So you need a little place for the dogs, okay? And then some of the top must-haves for buyers in 2024 are number one, of course, affordability, followed by a good kitchen, outdoor improvements, neutral colors, and a functional floor plan. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get an in-home consultation on what to do to get your house ready for sale, that's part of what we do. It's a free in-home service and you're never obligated to sell. Call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit her at barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the rules for showing your home and how to avoid agent showing mistakes, plus Barb's hot new listings. Stay tuned for that.
Sounds like you said Asian showing mistakes.
No, let me go back to that then. All right. I'm waiting to have some dentistry done, and that's why on some of this pronunciation, I'm struggling a little bit.
Reword it. Showing mistakes done by real estate agents or something like that.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. When we come back, we'll be talking about rules for showing your home and how to avoid agent showing mistakes, plus Barb's hot new listings. Stay tuned for that. I just have to, you know what? I think I told you the story. I was at high school graduation party, and a friend of mine was a football player, and he came running up from behind me, Randall, and then tackled me just as I was putting a bottle of beer to my mouth.
Oh.
And so this is in high school. I cracked my 2 front teeth. It took a small chip out, but mostly it was just a crack. So for, I don't know, 40 plus years, those cracks didn't break. I was, year after year, I was amazed that that didn't happen. Well, a couple of years ago, it did. And so some crowns put in. And then after the show, I don't know, about a month and a half ago, I was so dumb as I ate a Snickers bar. I don't even like the damn things. And I took the bar out of my mouth, and lo and behold, my crowns were still impaled in the Snickers bar. So
God.
I've got some other stuff that I have to do that's a priority over that. So that's just a quick explanation of why sometimes it doesn't sound perfect.
Well, you can always reword it. I'm not worried about that. You know, it's
Okay.
general idea. It doesn't have to be exact.
Let's see here. You know, I have to tell you, because I'm so excited about this. This whole squatters thing, I just think it's huge. And the more you were talking about it, the more I was thinking, you have so much to contribute to this. I could actually talk with the sheriff about their perspective on it. I can talk with the former district attorney about his perception of this. And David was right. I need to get a legislator on and talk about how in the world did we ever come up with laws that are favoring squatters instead of homeowners?
Exactly. They have more rights than the owner does.
It is crazy. I wonder what party would do something like that. Gee, just curious. I'm not saying too much here. All right, I got a new clock. And if we do this in time, David, you'll catch your 1 o'clock. I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program. I'm Richard Randall. I sit in with her. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to sell or buy real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the program. Barb, most home sellers believe they should leave during showing. So what are the best practices for showing a home and showing mistakes that agents do all the time that harm the home sellers, and how they should avoid them?
Well, Richard, I get these questions an awful lot. Some people don't want to leave their home, and that's okay. It's their home. But Buyers feel a little uncomfortable being, I guess, frank with their realtors about what their opinion of the home is from a perspective of a purchase. However, there are some sellers that just don't want to leave. And if they don't want to leave, it's fine. If that's the case, the best tip would be to just say hello. Hey, I'll get out of your way. If you have any questions about the house, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just be over here. That's okay. But in general, the buyers and their agents prefer to be able to view the property without distraction. They want to look in the pantry and see the size of the pantry. They want to see if they have soft close cabinets. They would like to see the size of closets. So a lot of people are reluctant to even take a peek if the homeowner is home. But if you are home, try not to hover over them. Tell them you're available. Please don't tell them all the faults of the home. And please don't disclose your motivation for selling, because the agents will use that little bit of intelligence against you if your buyer happens to make an offer. And it's always good to present your home in the best light. Okay, tip number 2. You don't have to make your home available 24 hours a day. That's ridiculous. And there are some agents that say that, oh, make it available whenever they want to see, because if you don't, then you're going to miss out on that buyer. Well, that's just not true. With today's technology, they can pick up their smartphone. If the buyer's out of town, they can do what they call a virtual showing, using FaceTime or video or whatever. You need to make sure that when you do show the home, you limit the times and make those times work for you, not them, because it's not a fair fight. Just in the Pikes Peak region, there's 5,000 agents, right? Many of them are working with buyers, and they don't, frankly, care about the seller's schedule, right? They just think, oh, I should be entitled to go and show it whenever I want, which is just absolutely not true. If you limit the time, it actually makes it more desirable, more exclusive. So I don't agree with that theology, but some people do. And we know for a fact right now, as the rules stand, agents use the opportunity to meet a buyer by showing a house. In other words, they haven't met the buyer. They don't know if they qualify for a loan. They don't know what kind of home they're looking for. Just the other day, I got feedback. I have a beautiful ranch style home up in Flying Horse that was shown by the agent, and the agent's feedback was, well, she wanted a 2-story. I'm like, well, then what are you doing there? Probably he was there meeting her for the first time. That's what I think happens. So that's why I call them overpaid door openers, because they really don't sit down with their buyer, figure out what they're looking for, and then go try to find it for them. Instead, they use some kind of online connection and go, oh, I'm going to open the door and hope it works out. I also call them Pop-Tart agents. And we actually tested this for about a year. I said, all right, I'm going to play Pop-Tart. Anytime somebody wants to see a listing, we're going to pop out of the toaster, go show it to them and see what happens. Well, the problem is, it becomes about the house and not about the connection with the agent and the services that the agent can do for them in order to make their buying experience better. So it never worked for us. We didn't sell a single home playing Pop-Tart with the buyers, and we never really connected with those buyers. There is actually one very large box brokerage right now that made a business out of overpaid door openers. They actually pay them $50 to go open the door and show it to them. And if that buyer wants that house, they're not going to have that agent write the offer. They're going to have some other random agent that knows how to write offers write the offer, which is ridiculous. It makes the home a commodity and not something special. And I just don't like it. Okay. So most of the time when the agents are at the door with their quote buyer, they've never met them before. They also do not vet them to verify that they have the financial ability to perform. And those people are probably not likely to buy your home. So I think it's always good to ensure that you're working with buyers that are qualified. And so that's one good change about this National Association of Realtors settlement, is it's going to require, at the very least, the buyer has an agreement with the buyer before they go open a door. It'll minimize all those tire kickers just trying to get business any way they can. 81% of the agents sell 3 or less homes a year. It's true in Pikes Peak, it's true in Denver, and half the ones that sell 3 or less don't sell any at all. Okay. What does that tell you? That tells you that to me, it tells me the industry is not good at teaching agents how to get and grow their business. And it also tells me that these agents that are selling very few homes probably don't know a whole lot about the home. They don't know a whole lot about the neighborhood. They don't know anything about the buyer. And I have visually seen myself when I've gone in and showed property where I'll go into this house. There's also another showing going on. And I watch the agent go sit down in the couch in the living room, and her buyers are wandering all over the house. I'm with my buyers. She's not with her buyers. She's sitting on the couch looking at her phone and just tells them, hey, just let me know if you like it. Well, would you like that, Richard?
Sounds like pretty easy money to me if you can actually get the home purchased or sold by just sitting on the couch. It doesn't sound like it's very realistic or very efficient in terms of one of the biggest investments that people have in their life.
Absolutely. And, I really didn't, until I was about 10 years in the business, I didn't get any formal training on how to show a home. I had to go find that education. And there is a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it. And most brokerages do not offer that kind of training. And so that means that a lot of agents don't know anything about what is appropriate for showing etiquette. And I know I've told a lot of stories about this before. So do you think it's okay for the buyers to come in the house and use the toilet? Do you think it's okay for the kids to roam around the house unsupervised, for the kids to jump on the bed, for the buyers to eat stuff and leave crumbs on the kitchen counter, to track water, mud, or snow in the home, to let some other unvetted buyer tag along to an existing showing? Do you think it's okay for these agents to leave doors unlocked? Do you think it's okay for them to fail to follow the showing instructions, to leave lock boxes wide open with a key there for everybody to see, to anybody to come on in whenever? Or one of the things that drives most people crazy in occupied homes is when the agents show up late, show up early, or don't show up at all and fail to cancel. And if you think about how rude that is, you've asked to reserve this home. So you've asked the seller to get out, right? So they get kids and dogs, cats, whatever, get in the car, go somewhere else, and they don't even show up. I've actually had agents on the real high demand properties, when they go in and show, they change the lockbox code so no one else can get in. It's astounding to me. We had to go take bolt cutters and get the lockbox off and start over again.
Every week, Barb, you have something that just stuns me. I mean, I understand that you can get your real estate license. They don't teach you how to market. They don't teach you how to negotiate. They don't teach common decency and etiquette or how not to violate somebody's property by changing the codes. Holy cow.
No, and I remember one time I had somebody show one of my listings. They showed it on a Sunday. So on Monday morning, 7:30, bright and shiny, I get a call from one of the neighbors saying, hey, I'm behind this house. The back door is wide open. And it was in the winter. I said, thank you for calling me. I'll be right over. She goes, do you want me to lock it? I said, it's okay. I'll be over there. I'll take care of it. I go over to the house. The neighbor had shut the door. I locked the door. There was popcorn on the floor. They had used the toilets and not flushed. I'm like, what was going on here? So I just don't think a lot of agents care. They don't have a lot of attention to detail. They're more about making friends and hoping everybody's happy and not, just understanding some basic etiquette. You're in someone else's home. You don't treat somebody's home like that. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of the show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about some rules for showing your home and how to avoid agent showing mistakes. And next up, what we're going to do to help you avoid agent showing nightmares. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice, and Barb Schlinker is your real estate voice. She's with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can always reach her and her team at 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about moving. So what are some agents showing nightmares, and what can home sellers actually do about those?
Well, number one, make sure you lock up your valuables, right? Don't have them easily accessible anywhere. Theft can happen. I know from my own experience of what's happened on my listings that these agents don't supervise the buyers. Sometimes they'll be talking to one buyer and the other party goes somewhere else and they start rifling through the house. So make sure you don't do that, okay? And then I have this new feature I'm starting calling Tea Time, Real Estate Tea Time with Barb. So one of my hairdresser told me she was a first-time home buyer when she bought her home. So her agent wrote up a contract. Her agent didn't bother to go to the inspection. She had something more important to do. She did show up at the closing, by the way, in a very fancy car. And when she took her check at the end of the closing, went outside, her husband picked her up, gave her a big hug, and they drove off in a real fancy car. You know, they found out after closing that the basement flooded. There were all kinds of repairs that didn't get done. This is the kind of what I call transactional agent that just doesn't care, right? She got zero help from her agent post-closing as well. Here's another thing. When you do show, it's very important that your first impression is very, very good. So make sure you exceed expectations when you're showing. It's okay to play nice, soft music using, the TV channels. I know cable has all these music channels on there. Leave the lights on. Make sure the home smells nice. You want to make it look and feel like a model. And it's good to provide visual information about the house that's not obvious, like central AC, roof just replaced, new installation, whatever it might be. I know that a lot of the real estate agents won't read the MLS. They also won't even carry the MLS listing in them when they show. They don't know anything about the house, but we want the buyers to know because they're going to be the ones that say they want to make an offer. So make sure you have it visually available for everyone to see when you go in. And then it's okay to put great idea to put security cameras up around your home. Don't feel bad about that. It's okay. It's your house. It's your domain. You want to see and hear what's going on. And if you have to be home, we talked about how you can just step out of the way. And then most of all, hire the agent that has the teams and the systems and the process in place so that you avoid these showing nightmares and you're able to sell your home for top dollar in the least amount of time. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program and Your Real Estate Voice. She's with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and reach out by giving her a call at 719-301-3900. Do it now. Or you can also visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Now, Barb, you have some hot new listings. I know you'd like to talk about them. You always get excited, and they are always great. What do you have this week?
Oh, I have a beautiful 2.5-acre lot on the top of Woodmore Mountain on Boulder Lane, priced at $129. Great building site, great views. Gorgeous home on Powers Road on 35 acres in the low threes. Beautiful 4-bedroom, 2-story and fountain and 449. Gorgeous townhome on Smoke Tree at 320. Beautiful home, a stunning home on Allegiance up there by the Air Force Academy in the low sixes. Fantastic acreage home on Gull Lane in the low sevens, and another acreage property on a Cowie Way in Peyton, just updated to 725. And then we've got more coming soon, one in the Broadmoor, another 5-plex coming up, and many others. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday at 11 o'clock, right after Larry Kudlow. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, or you can listen to a podcast on all of the popular platforms. Thanks for listening this week. Reach out to Barb, give her a call, 719-301-3900. Barb, you have a great Easter. We'll talk next week.
Thank you. You as well. Happy Easter.
I honestly have been so wrapped up
I went long.
with a bunch of the show and a ton of things, some medical stuff, all kinds of things going on, that I didn't realize Easter was this weekend until I was talking to my daughter. Her and her boyfriend are going to Mexico. And I just asked her, are you going to be home for Easter? And she said, this weekend, Reed and I are heading down to Mexico. And I said, but what about Easter? Dad, this weekend is Easter. Thank you. I mean,
Well, I was reminded last weekend was Palm Sunday. I'm like, oh, okay.
and I always forget, I'll be somewhere and, I have no clue. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at somebody who has ashes on their forehead. And I'm like, well, apparently I didn't remember, any of this stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right. What are we going to highlight here, Barb?
Oh, you got to do the squatter story.
I love it. I mean, I just, and I don't know how frequently you like to repeat subjects, and I don't know how often, Dave, or whatever, but you're exactly right. That is in the news big time right now.
Yeah.
And I would just recommend that, it's a perfect time to get it out there. And I'll make sure I'm putting that into the live reads as well, because I try to remind people of things that are going on in the news, how it applies to you and the market especially. And the squatters thing, they don't teach that in real estate school. I mean, I love being able to tell people what they don't teach them in real estate school. I usually hammer on, they don't teach you how to market. They don't teach you how to bargain. I remind people that you can even represent them if they're buying a new home from a developer and probably save some money, but squatters, excellent. Okay. I'm going to take the headphones off. 3, 2, 1. Your real estate voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday from what? Why do I keep printing these out, and I don't change the dang thing, so I print a new one out, and it looks like it's ready to go, and it's not. Just let me mark this up, and I'll make sure I keep printing new ones, but the problem is they still have the old information. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Your real estate voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday, 11 to noon, right after Larry Kudlow, right here on 740 KVOR. This weekend, Barb's talking about how to prevent home invasion squatters when you're selling your home. You don't want to miss that. Is that too long? I can't believe it. I mean, I honestly thought I was way too long on that. I just wanted to put as much in as I could. And do you walk on water? I shouldn't say stuff like that. A lightning bolt could come down. I'm just saying that you're very good at what you do. I didn't mean to imply that you could actually walk on water or anything like that. I know. All right, Barbara, we're good to go?
Yeah, I think so. You guys have a happy Easter.
You too. Whatever you end up doing or relaxing or whatever, have a great week. Hopefully the weather is good. I mean, I don't know. It seems like we have 4 days of good weather, 4 days of bad weather.
I got to move out of my home office this weekend. That's my mission.
Oh my gosh. That
You're kicking us out of rooms.
That looks fun. The project is gonna be great when it's done. When do you think it will be done?
Probably, maybe, I don't know, June, July. I'm not sure.
Good deal. All right.
Yeah.
Well, whatever you do, even I hope the move goes well then. We'll leave it at that and talk to you next week.
All right. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.